Alrighty, welcome to the 112th edition of Before the Battle, here live on YouTube. I'm Nick Baldwin of BloodyElbow.com, joined as always by Jed Meshew of MMAfighting.com, and back for the first time in quite a while, it's Wes Riddle of MMAsucker.com. Wes, Jed, how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent, man. How about y'all?
I can't complain. Wes, how are you?
I'm doing good for the most part. I told you, Nick, earlier yesterday on your show that I had to take a little bit of time off. I had a passing in my family, which was my father, as some of you do know, and had to take a little bit of time to kind of deal with that, and had some school stuff still going on, so things got pretty busy on my end, but now I'm trying to take time to do stuff to keep me busy, and I feel like doing stuff like this is definitely enjoyable, especially chatting with you too about fights.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you took some time off, and obviously I said so yesterday. Sorry about the loss of your father and everything like that. But I think it's also good that you're back and took a little while. But it's good to talk to you again. Always have fun having you here on the show. So with that,
Plus, you're coming back for one hell of a card, Wes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you skipped 225. You skipped that amazing card, and you're coming back for a 3 a.m. card with not a lot of great talent.
I'm so glad after this long hiatus of basically 2 weeks, we get this card, and then we've got another hiatus of UFC, which kind of stinks.
No cheating. How many fighters, take a guess, don't have Wikipedia pages on this
How many
card?
fights are there? So I don't want to look at
the 13 fights.
13 fights?
There are 4 main card fights, and then so that would be 9 undercards. How many fighters don't have Wikipedia pages?
15.
I've seen the page before, but I never got a number. My guess is like 7.
What was yours, Nick?
15.
Yeah, probably more. It's got to be more. It's got to be like 10.
Final answers?
15.
I'll go with 12.
Wow, you guys both a little high. 7 was close. 8 is the correct answer. 8 fighters on this card.
That still is
without
crazy,
Wikipedia pages. That includes 1 on your main card.
Really? Would that be Jessica Rose Clark, maybe?
No,
Daichi Abe.
Yeah, Daichi Abe. Yeah, Jessica Rose Clark definitely has a Wikipedia page. So,
sure. Yeah, 100%. I forgot about Abe was on the card, and that makes a lot of sense.
Daichi Abe is your one main carder. Yeah, so that's what you came back to. Woo!
Can't wait.
Well, I do believe Wes was a winner in some regard last time for UFC 225, which of course was a couple. He was not. Okay,
He was the winner the previous time, but he wasn't here to collect.
I see.
So that barely was a winner for.
Anyways, we had.
He won picks. He won picks for the Moraes Rivera. He went 11-1. A very strong showing. 1 picks and 1 DraftKings actually. With 378. You weren't there for that, Wes. But this past week, the King returned 10-3. Your boy. I'm taking it home. My misses were Overeem, Coulter, which we all missed on. We all missed on Overeem too, actually. And RDA, all 3 of us missed on all of those. You guys also just missed on some others, and I didn't miss on those. Joseph Benavidez was my big pick there. The underdog coming through that helped guide me to victory over you, Nikolai. Or not Joseph Benavidez, Sergio Pettis over Joseph Benavidez.
Correct.
The bonuses, me and Wes both got 1, but since I was the bonus winner the week before, I'm going to retain the belt. Wes and I both took Bobby Knuckles versus Yoel Romero as your fight of the night. That was the only bonus any of us hit. The rest of us all over the table, all of us wrong on a lot of shit. And then your DraftKings results. Nikolai, you take the DK belt, 411 points. So Wes, sad to say you're coming back to a goose egg. But Nick, you did beat me on DraftKings, Wes, by like 9 points or so. But Nick ran away with it. Charles Oliveira, Anthony Smith, Tai Tuivasa, and Rafael Dos Anjos all putting up a lot of points. Even though Rafael Dos Anjos lost that fight, he still put up 70 points. So good for him.
All right. Well,
that's it. We're ready to rock.
That's that for UFC 225. Whitaker Romero 2 weeks ago. Now we move to the future, to the other side of the planet for a lot of us, and probably anybody listening. We head to Singapore for UFC Fight Night 132, going down early Saturday morning if you are a North American like the three of us are, or I guess would that be Saturday evening if you live in Singapore or the surrounding area. We got UFC Fight Night 132, Donald Cerrone, Leon Edwards in the main event at welterweight. Very important fight for the division. Perhaps not, as important as a fight like RDA versus Covington, but still, we have two ranked fighters. We have a veteran versus a rising contender / prospect. It counts for something. It should be an interesting fight. Stylistically, on paper, it's some fun, I think, I hope. But the rest of the card, just not all that appealing. But we got to deliver for you guys, the fans, the listeners, the watchers here on Before the Battle. So let's get into it. We kicked things off on UFC Fight Pass. We actually will stay on UFC Fight Pass for the entire card. So you have to have Fight Pass to watch this entire event at a starting time of 4:30 a.m. Eastern, 1:30 a.m. Pacific. Again, on Saturday morning, we have Janelle Lausa taking on Yuta Sasaki at flyweight, starting things off at 125. Jed, do you like Sasaki or Lausa?
What are you talking about? Melinda Fabian and Ji Young Kim starts this fight card off.
Well, on UFC.com, that fight doesn't exist, so...
Yes, it does.
Does it? Are they actually fighting?
Go to UFC.com. It's right the fuck there.
Is it?
I was there just like 5 seconds ago. Yeah, it's literally the first card on UFC. Your first fight on UFC.com.
Well,
Kim Fabian.
I don't see that. I don't know why.
How do you not? You don't see? Okay, maybe I'm crazy. I'm going to screenshot this.
Well, I'm going to screenshot mine too, just so
I'm going to put this shit in the thing because I definitely see it.
Well, I trust you. I believe you that you see the fight, but you also have to trust me that I don't.
I don't trust you. You are a known liar.
I don't lie. I've never said a lie in my life.
You are a known liar.
I've never lied to either parent, my sister, to a teacher, to a friend.
Lying to the millions of fans all around the world right now.
I am a good boy, and you have to understand that. The screenshot is there. The proof is in the pudding. Just check Twitter.
I screenshot and I uploaded mine instead of doing a drive photo. Oh no, I did do a drive photo. I did it backwards. You did that. Let's take a look.
Anyways, what do we want?
Yeah, it's right there on yours. Wait, is that which one of these?
Don't say it's there on mine and make me look like a complete idiot.
Did you post into our group chat?
I sure did.
I don't see anything in our group chat.
I don't see yours either. Is that? Are we gonna argue about this all night?
Yes, because this is I'm now.
Oh, you did it in Hangouts. I did mine on Twitter.
Oh, well, check it. Why
would you send it in Google Hangouts? Now I need to request access.
Where is it on Twitter? Oh, is it in the
DMs? Come on, Jed Meshew.
Just go. Oh, don't go to the UFC page on it. Just go to the home page. Go to UFC.com.
I come back to this.
Oh, have you been gone? We've been arguing about this. Just go to UFC.com, Nick, and tell me.
No, Wes has been here. On UFC.com, I see 10 fights.
I will give you that when I click on the site-specific page, not the UFC.com homepage, that fight is not up there. But it is up there for the homepage. So I'm calling it, and I'm going to go ahead and give my prediction.
I forbid to predict it. I will not predict the fight.
Shit, what you forbid or not. Melinda Fabian's not very good, and Ji Young Kim is not very good either, but she's not awful. And I have very, 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 very little respect for any woman that competed on Tough 26 because I think most of that house was not very good, and she got tapped by Rachel Ostovich, who is super not good in the very first round. And Ji Young Kim is probably a good enough grappler to at least be competitive, or to at least get the fight where she wants it on the floor and be fine there. So give me Ji Young Kim, and then you guys can do whatever. Now we can go forward.
Yeah, I'm taking Ji Young Kim in this one too. She's got a couple submission victories in her resume. Hasn't looked terrific, especially in her last fight with Justine Kish. But then again, Melinda Fabian, she's just not that great. I mean, her last fight was a draw with Deanna Bennett. She had some moments in her career early on, but then she almost loses every fight. Actually, pretty much every fight by submission. So I'm taking Ji on Kim by a second round submission. Could be in the first. I think she'll be able to get it done and get it done pretty early.
Who's the fighter who just got body shot KO'd by Botelha? That's not Jion Kim, is that?
No.
No. Yeah, it does sound like this fight is happening, so I guess I eat crow, but I mean, I didn't see it. It's not on my page, so I can't blame myself, but I'll go Jion Kim. Now we go to Janelle Losa versus Yuta Sasaki. Jed, now answer my question for real this time. Who was the pick?
I don't know, man. Who gives a shit?
We could say that about pretty much every fight on this card. Maybe besides the last two, maybe even the co-main event we could.
I mean, I'm going to be super honest with you, boys. I am probably not even going to watch this card at all.
Well, I'm going camping. I said so off air to you guys, and so I'll wake up naturally and probably catch the last couple of fights. I'm intrigued by the last couple of fights, but the rest of the card,
honestly, like the main card has some stuff that's not terrible on it, but like I got so much other stuff going on right now, and this is all just kind of white noise until we get to July 7th. There's a super strong chance I'm not going to pay attention to this fight. I'll take this fight card. I'll take Oka Sasaki because way bigger, a little more active on the feet, just a little better on the feet, frankly. And like has good wins as opposed to Lausa, who has just lost to people. Like Scoggins and Gates are both pretty okay wins, and losing to Lapis, Heiss, and Formiga that's not bad. So yeah, give me Oka Sasaki. Yeah.
I'm taking Sasaki too, but I feel like Lausa has a chance, and that's if he keeps it on the feet because he is pretty competent with his boxing. I think he had some credentials before he was a mixed martial artist in kind of that area. And the fighters he's lost to were Bibulatov and Eric Shelton. So those two are pretty heavy wrestlers. So if he can defend the takedowns that Sasaki has, because Sasaki's just going to want a submission, then he'll have a chance to win. But Sasaki is my pick. I see him taking him down and possibly getting a choke. I'm not really sure. I lean towards the decision, but Sasaki is going to be my pick. Wouldn't be surprised though if Lawson pulls up some kind of an upset if he is an underdog.
Janelle Lose is well-rounded enough to win some fights, but he really hasn't had much success in the UFC. He is what 0-2, I believe. No, he's 1-2. A win over Yawaza Kui in 2016. He's lost to pretty good competition. Magomed Bibulatov, who's a good flyweight, and Eric Shelton, who is a decent prospect at the very least, or at best, I guess. But I'm just not sure he can put it together against a massive Yuta Sasaki. Sasaki, Losa doesn't have a huge disadvantage. Only 3 inches of reach and 5 in height. That's kind of big, but I know Losa is not a small flyweight. Sasaki is just really huge for the division. I think Sasaki is probably the better grappler. And on the feet, I don't really see Losa getting inside and clipping him with anything big. And Losa doesn't have tons of volume on the feet either. So I think this will mostly be a grappling affair, one that is rather one-sided for the Japanese fighters. So give me Yuta Sasaki. I'll say a submission in round number 2 or so, 2 or 3. Moving on, we remain at flyweight. We got Matt Schnell taking on Naoki Inoue. Yes, this guy is a top prospect. I just can't pronounce his name.
Inoue should be easy. There have been
Inoue. Yes. How do you pronounce his first name?
Naoki.
Naoki.
You don't have to enunciate every syllable. Naoki. Naoki. It's Naoki. Naoki Inoue.
Anyway, we'll go with Inoue.
Like, we could be butchering it. No one's going to call us out, and that's fine.
No. Who do you like here, though, at 125?
I'll take Inoue. He's super young, which is, cool. Means he's probably not going to be a flyweight for long. Matt Schnell's a fine, competent fighter, but he's not a great one. And Inoue is, a pretty good prospect, seems like. made his bones in the Deep organization as much as anyone who's 21 years old can make their bones, and just tap people all damn day over there. And Schnell has, Schnell has been stopped before. He's been tapped before. So I would look forward to maybe getting some fun scrambles in here. But yeah, give me Inoue.
I'm taking Naoki Inoue as well in this one. He's Jed. I feel like you pretty much covered it. He's a pretty hot little prospect.
Of course I did.
coming
I'm
into the
very
scene.
good at my job, Wes.
Exactly. He's just coming into the scene. He's only 21 years old. He's still pretty young. Nick, we're almost getting to that time where a fighter is older or younger than you.
Yeah, that's
not quite yet.
crazy. That's crazy.
Not quite yet. Naoki Inoue, 21 years old. I think he's got some potential in the UFC, but we're going to have to kind of see. He's still really young, but we do know that his submission game is absolutely fantastic. And seeing that Matt Schnell's takedown defense is only at 50% in the UFC, not sure how it was outside, but still 50% isn't great. And seeing how good Inoue is in the clinch and also just being able to control fighters on the mat, I think this one should be pretty easy, or at least a pretty easy path for him to be able to get the job done. So Naoki Inoue is going to be my pick by a second-round submission over Matt Schnell.
Nick, who'd you take in the other fight? Sorry.
I
Sasaki?
took Sasaki. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Inoue. I don't think I've ever seen him fight, but he's a top prospect. A lot of people have been talking about him, and he's very, very highly touted going through his UFC debut. So I'm gonna trust the hype. I like Matt Schnell as a person and as a fighter. He's not bad. I just think Inoue is gonna be better. I mean, again, I don't know tons about Inoue, but I trust the odds. I trust the hype. I believe in it for now, anyways, until I see any reason not to. So I think he's just going to be one step ahead. And both guys are grapplers for the most part. Inoue's probably a bit better. He's younger, so he's a bit more green, but he's 11-0 for a reason. Schnell's not bad. He has a bit more experience. He's been in the UFC, so that counts for something, but just not enough. Give me Naoki Inoue. Probably inside the distance. Moving on, we go to the strawweight division. We got Viviane Pereira taking on Yan Zignan. I'll just go with 9. That's her nickname. That seems a lot easier to pronounce for me. Do you like 9 or Viviane Pereira, Jed?
I'm going with Viviane Pereira. Zhao Ningyan is beat Kaylin Curran in her last bout, and that's not nothing. Kaylin Curran also is a sub 500 fighter, whereas Viviane Pereira, I'm so bad at that shit. Her only loss is to Tatiana Suarez, and I think looking back, the fact that she went the distance with Tatiana Suarez looks pretty damn good now. Plus she's got a win over Valerie Letourneau, or a win over Valerie Letourneau. She's got good wins on her resume. Like Viviane Pereira is not a bad fighter at all, and Zhao Ningyan is whatever. Give me Pereira by decision.
Yeah, I was in Norfolk for Viviane Pereira's last fight where she fought Tatiana Suarez, and she just got taken down a lot, but she landed a couple decent shots on the feet. Nothing really special. But then again, like you mentioned, going to a decision with Tatiana Suarez is pretty impressive. Zhao Ningyan, she's pretty young in her fight years still. And the Kaylin Curran win was decent, but then again, she gave up a round pretty late in the fight. And I think Pereira, she should be able to get this one done. She is a little undersized, I think, with her height, but I don't think that that's going to play a big difference. Pereira is pretty powerful with punches. I think she'll be able to get the job done. Just not sure it's going to be by finish. I think we're going to see this one stretched out over the course of the 15 minutes. For those reasons, I've got Viviane Pereira by a unanimous decision.
Yeah, give me Viviane Pereira. I guess completing the hat trick. 9. What has she done as of late? She beat Kaylin Curran. How much does that mean? Probably nothing, because Curran, well, it's Kaylin Curran. If you follow the sport for a couple of years, you know that she's just not really ready. Seems to have potential, but just couldn't put it together. So a win over her. I mean, it's something, but it's not tons. Pereira seems like a pretty good fighter. She's not much of a finisher. She has a bit of knockout power, but I mean, look at her record, 13-1. That's respectable. Easily, obviously. 9 lands a lot more per minute. Just looking at the actual numbers, she has more volume, but I think Pereira probably has a bit of a grappling advantage. She hits a bit harder. I'll just go with the Brazilian here. I think it could be a close fight, but Pereira, I think, should be favored. I'll give her the win by decision. Moving on, we go to the welterweight division. We got Shinsho and Zai taking on Jake the Celtic Kid Matthews. Interesting one here at 170. Jed, you like the big favorite here in Jake Matthews, or can the animal from Japan pull off the upset?
Go to Wes on this one. Sorry,
Wes.
I'm not. I just don't think Shinzo Anzai. I mean, he's a pretty entertaining fighter to watch, but then again, his last 2 wins, they've been stretched out over the course of such a long period of time. The last one came in 2017. It's approaching a year. And then before that, it was in September of 2015 over Roger Zapata. His UFC debut was against Alberto Mina, but that was back in August of 2014. So his inconsistency just in competing inside of the UFC kind of worries me, even though he's going to be fighting in front of a lot of people that are probably of his hometown, just kind of that regional area. But Jake Matthews is a completely different animal, even for 23 years old. I think he's going to be able to go out here and put up together a pretty decent performance. So Matthews is going to be my pick. I think he'll be able to implement a couple of takedowns in there and also maybe land some of the better shots on the feet and possibly score a second-round TKO. So I'm taking Jake Matthews in this one.
Jed, you ready?
Yeah, sorry, I was busy happening there. Wes, who'd you take? You took Matthews?
Yep.
I didn't listen to any of Wes's breakdown. Sorry about that. I am gonna take. So if I repeat stuff, my bad. I'm gonna take Matthews. But I actually think this fight might be a little bit closer than anyone's really expecting. At least the odds makers are. Shinzo Nzai is not a great fighter. Just by virtue of the fact that he got knocked out by Alberto Mina shows he's not like a great fighter, whereas Jake Matthews seems to have a ton of potential and could be very, very good. But at the same time, Jake Matthews is one of those guys who seems like he's going to be good, but maybe just never get as good as we kind of want him to be. He's got a lot of tools, but jack of all trades, master of none. He does really rely on grappling a lot, and Shinzo Nzai is a pretty good freestyle wrestler, fairly decorated in Japan, and he has never given up a takedown in his brief UFC career, but 3 fights he hadn't been taken down once. That's not nothing. That's not nothing. And he's not a great offensive wrestler, but he's there. He's good enough. So I think that he can maybe make this a little bit grittier. But in the end of the day, Jake Matthews is a better fighter and going to get his hand raised. But I think he's going to get a workout. Jake Matthews by decision.
Yeah, give me Jake Matthews here, completing the hat-trick one.
Wow, guys. A lot of variety in our pick. Oh, good. Nick is just getting botched all to hell. Scooby-Doo. Wes is muted, guys, and Nick keeps talking even though his sound is devastatingly bad. So you're left with me, dear viewers. If you are watching our show, thanks for joining us. I am Jed Meshew here with Nick Baldwin and Wes Riddle. Nick might be back.
Am I here?
Yeah, Nick, you are back. Your audio just got real sketchy, and then you got muted.
Well, anyways, as I was saying, I do think this would be
every time Nick tries to make a point, the audio just decides it doesn't want him to make one.
That's lovely.
And as he's not bad or no.
Oh, maybe now you're back. I'm going to go ahead and say that your computer is just trying to tell you not to talk about Matthew, Shinzo, and Zai, and that the fight gods are speaking through technology. So just say a name very quickly so you won't get Skyped out on that, and we'll move on.
I'm going Jake Matthews by TKO. All right.
Nice. So moving on then, I'm going to take the reins here.
Ooh, Jed Meshew's taking over as host, just like Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas takes over as host, and Jed Meshew thinks he can do the same.
Don't get me started. It was bullshit. I demand a recount. But moving forward, anyway, speaking of things that matter, in this world, and that's this fight card this weekend, Kenan Song taking on a Hector Aldana in it's a fight, that it is a fight that is happening. You would be surprised, guys, to know. I don't know if you guys knew this coming in, but remember the thing earlier was like, hey, how many of these fighters have Wikipedia pages? This is one of the fights. This is the only fight between two people that don't have Wikipedia pages. So I have a lot to say about both of these gentlemen, but I'm going to defer to you guys first. Wes, why don't we start with you?
Well, I can tell you this. Hector Aldana hasn't fought since 2015, and the fights that he had in 2015 were both on tough. He ended up losing to Enrique Marin, who's a pretty decent fighter overall, in the, I guess, a welterweight weight class. But then again, before that, he hadn't fought since 2013. So if you look at it, Hector Aldana has not had a professional fight in 5 years. Keenan Song is actually pretty active in some of his fights, especially more recently. And he looked pretty impressive in his knockout over Bobby Nash, despite having lost to knockout before that fight. I think he's going to do pretty much some of the same stuff here. I think Keenan Song is going to be able to go out there and possibly put away Aldana early in the fight. So I'm taking Keenan Song by first-round knockout over Hector Aldana.
Nicholas, what about you?
What fight is this again?
Song Aldana or Keenan Aldana.
I think it might be Song Hector Aldana. Has he fought in the UFC?
He fought on Tough 3 years ago. Tough, Tough Latin America too.
That does very little for me. And Song Kanan is this the guy that beat Bobby Nash?
Correct.
Yes, he is. Kanan's the favorite here, right? I think
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. One dude hasn't fought in 3 years, and that was those fights were amateur because they were on the Tough House.
Yep, that's good enough for me. Give me the assassin, Song Kanan.
Yeah, we don't really need to talk about this. One guy hasn't fought professionally in 5 years. If you're not George St. Pierre, you're probably going to lose whoever they match you up against just because that's a super long time off. So, yeah, give me Song Keenan. Nick, I'm going to let you take over again. I had the reins for a minute. It was fun, but it appears that your computer is no longer
too difficult of a job for you. Only the best in the business can handle it, Jed. Is that what you're getting at?
No, I could do it if you wanted me to, but it just seems like your computer stopped Skyping. So I was okay. Next up in the 145-pound division, we have a absolutely pivotal contest here between Rolando Dai and Shane Young. Dai, we'll all remember coming off the barn burn of a unanimous decision win over Waliji Buren at UFC Fight Night Bisping versus Gastelum, the UFC's debut event in China, I believe.
Mainland China.
Mainland China, correct. Mainland China. And last we saw Shane Young, he's getting his ass handed to him by Alexander Volkanovski. There's no shame in that, though. Volkanovski proven himself to be one of the top featherweights in the world. So these two guys looking to make a name, stake a claim. Who takes it? Nick, we'll go to you.
Oh, I don't know. This is one of the tougher fights on the card, as crazy as it might sound, just because it's in the middle of the prelims and who really cares? No offense to either Rolando Dai and Shane Young, are both good fighters, but as Eugene S. Robinson might say, you just haven't really given me a reason to care about you right now. But it is a close fight on paper. I mean, Dai has shown some good things. Shane Young has only lost to, I think, in my opinion, one of the better featherweights there is right now. And so I think he might show a better game, but I don't know exactly what that might be, what that could look like. I think he'll win, but I think this is a close fight. Technically, stylistically, I don't really know. Shane Young's a bit of a striker. Has a bit of grappling chops. We haven't seen much of it. Rolando Dai, kind of well-rounded as well. So it's a tough fight, but I think Young probably wins on points on the feet. Although looking at this, Dai does land more. He does have the volume advantage, so take that for what it's worth. But nonetheless,
he has the volume advantage based on stats from one fight where Alexander Volkanovski beat that loving hell out of him.
That is a fair point. Give me Shane Young here by decision.
Wes, what about you, sir?
Man, so I remember Rolando Dai's last fight because I feel like I definitely got up for the Bisping Gastelum card, but then again, I don't remember it happening. But I more so remember his last two losses, especially the Alex Caceres one. So I feel like for those reasons, I should pick Shane Young, just because, I mean, I remember his Volkanovski fight, but then I feel like a lot of people are going to lose to Alexander Volkanovski. So making it to a decision with him probably isn't too shabby. Plus, his other losses are to like Damian Brown and Wang Guan, who are both pretty decent and competent fighters. So for all those reasons, without really breaking down anything technical about them, I just think Shane Young is going to be the better fighter in this one. Overall, more well-rounded and gets the job done. So he's going to be my pick by a decision.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and concur with everything y'all said. I just don't, frankly, think a whole hell of a lot of Rolando Dye and Luigi Burin is a meh win. Like, it's more impressive to go to a decision with Volkanovski than to beat Burin. So give me Young. I guess I'll also go by decision, and we will keep on being lockstep, pick for pick. All of us. This is great because if we keep doing this the whole way, I get to retain my title going forward on picks. So pretty excited about that, fellas. But enough of that. Moving on, our next contest taking place just down 10 pounds, just a little bit. Felipe Arantes taking on Song Yadong. I believe that it is that and not Yadong Song. Felipe Arantes, win last we saw, losing a unanimous decision to Josh Emmett, the same Josh Emmett who has staked a claim, made a name for himself at 145. That is Felipe Arantes is dropping back down to bantamweight. He had a brief foray up against Josh Emmett, decided that wasn't for him, moved back down. Song Yadong is coming off a win also in the UFC's debut in mainland China, that Bisping Gastelum card, over Bharat Kandari, a first-round submission win over there. So, both of these guys have been around and no one cares. I don't think Song has a wiki page. Almost positive Felipe Arantes does because he's been in the UFC for long enough now. Like 10 fights or something. Holy shit, how many fights did Felipe Arantes? Felipe Arantes has 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11 fights in the UFC. Wow. That is a lot of fights for a guy who's as good as he is. So Wes, we'll go to you to start since we kicked it to Nick last time. What do we got here, Wes?
It's crazy that Felipe Arantes' UFC debut was in 2011, and it was against Yuri Alcantara. That, it just shows you. Yo, go ahead.
He's fought 11 times, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I've watched every UFC event that has ever happened. He has fought in the organization 11 times. If he was eating lunch like across the counter from me in a diner, I don't think I'd notice.
I think you're right. I don't think I noticed him either. He's never really done a whole lot. He's always been, I wouldn't call him a gatekeeper because it's not like he's ranked in the top 10 or 15.
Their level's a gatekeeper.
He's a level of a gatekeeper that isn't like, I want to watch a gatekeeper. He's like a gatekeeper who's like, I'm going to hang around 30th to 40th out of the 60 fighters in our division, and I'm going to win against the guys that are lower than me, but I'm going to lose to all the guys that are higher than me. And that's what he's done basically his whole UFC career. And I just don't really know. I've been back and forth on this one, but I think I'm going to actually take Yadong Song. I was really impressed with his UFC debut against Bharat Kandari, or however you pronounce his name. He looks very well-rounded. He showed skills on the feet and also with his submission skills. And I know he does have losses on his record to guys that, of course, I've never heard of. And Felipe Arantes has probably beat the better competition. But at this point in their careers, I feel like Arantes has started to just fade a little bit with the skill set. Plus, he hasn't had a win in almost 2 years, while Yadong Song is fighting first near his hometown and also has looked impressive in recent bouts. So I'm going to take Yadong Song. I don't know if he's an underdog or not. Maybe one of you two can check on that, but he's going to be my pick on this one.
He's a very, very slight favorite. -120, comeback +100. Some books, you're getting that line at closer to even. So, yeah, but right there in a couple of books, he might even be a dog. We're talking a very, very close fight.
Yeah, it's very close, but Yadong Song is going to be my pick in this one. I'm curious to see what you all take.
Nikolai.
Jed, I'll take the reins.
No, son, you can't squirt the milk back up them udders, boy. This is our world now. You better move on.
Another fight that, well, I'm going to be sleeping when it happens, and I'm kind of happy about that. I mean, I like Felipe Ranches from what I saw against or from Song Yadong in his debut. It's all good, but what does a stoppage win over Bharat Khandar mean? Can I just say nothing? Like, is that
Yes,
okay? I think so.
that is a totally acceptable thing. Also, I'm about to hit you guys with the fact of the day.
And Aranches, as you said, at this point, he's a veteran of the UFC bantamweight division. He's a good fighter. I mean, I think Aranches is a decent talent. I mean, he's well-rounded. His striking's getting better. His grappling's always good. He hasn't fought for a while. Well, okay, October 2017. Yeah, it's been enough. I mean, that Josh Emmett fight feels longer than that, but before that, it had been November 2016. The guy has not been active, so 2-fight losing streak. Maybe he's more motivated. I think he gets the job done. Yudong, he's 20 years old. I mean, he's just over 2 years older than me. So what can you do? He's still raw, not as much experience. Give me Felipe Ranches, who has more MMA experience and UFC experience. So I'll go Ranches here, but I guess Yudong, I mean, yeah,
So
he
you're,
could pull him off, but I'll go Ranches.
so you're paying no never mind to the hometown advantage of Song.
Yeah.
That's good because Wes, when you previously said that Song was fighting near his hometown, you were super, super wrong. And I'm here to hold you all accountable. That's my
Right.
job here. And let me just, because I thought that didn't sound right. And so I wanted to make sure and check. Do you know how far away Singapore is from Harbin, China, the province from which our boy Song resides?
I'm going to go 750
hours.
kilometers.
I have no idea.
I know you don't know what that means, so that's
I
why
have no
said it.
idea. I mean, it's definitely more than that number of kilometers anyway. It is a 7-hour plane flight between the two. Harbin,
Come on, West.
I didn't think. Sometimes I don't think China's really that big.
the province.
Asia's big though. Asia's big.
Asia's enormous. The province in China, Harbin, that he is from, is in that top, most eastern top like corner up by their mountain ranges and cold Russia area. So you got to fly all the way across the full body of China, Vietnam, Thailand, that whole kind of peninsula area, Malaysia to Singapore. Bam, 7 hours. I knew because I've been over in that area of the world and I have stupid American brain, so I'm really just making fun of you because it's amusing to me how dumb we Americans are geographically. Because I spent a summer living in Thailand, and one of my college roommates lived in Japan, and I was like, "Ooh, flights are so cheap. This will be easy. I'll just pop on over there." It was like an 8-hour plane flight to get there.
That's
I was
great.
like, "Oh, it's like right there." I was like, "Actually, no, it's the same as if I went to Europe." But it's, yeah.
Oh well, that's my bad. I'm sorry.
That's all I have to say about this fight. Frankly, I could not care less about this. I side with Wes. The first bit of dispute we have, Nick taking an underdog, which is frankly shocking.
Wait, Aranches is an underdog?
Aranches is in some, like in one or two books, Song is the favorite or the underdog, but most of them have Song as a very slight favorite. I'm taking Song mainly because I agree with most of what Wes said. Aranches been around the UFC for a while, but he hasn't won in a while. He's up and down. He hasn't really beaten anybody good in the organization. Maybe Song won't suck. I'm willing to be wrong here. I think Nick might get a point on us here, but I'm going to go with Song and stick with the odds makers. Moving on. What is the next fight of the evening? It's the first good, arguably the first good fight of the evening at 135 pounds, staying in the bantamweight division. We have Russian super prospect Peter Yan taking on Teruto Ishihara, team alpha male guy. He loves his bitches guy is probably why you most know him. You may know him. He beat Rolando Dai, who we just talked about a minute ago. His last fight lost Jose Alberto Quinones. He is 1-3 in his last 4, though, losing to Artem Lobov and Gray Maynard. So this might be a pink slip derby for him. And it's unfortunate because he's a guy who seems to have a bit of a following, but he is going up against one of the hotter prospects in the game these days, Peter Yan. His only loss is a split decision to Magomed Magomedov, which he then later avenged to ACB. Yan making his UFC debut. A lot of hype behind this guy. Nick, let's stick with you. What do you think here? Is the hot prospect going to come through in spades, or is Teruto Ishihara going to fight off that pink slip and stick around the UFC for a little bit?
Yeah, gotta go with Peter Yan. Gotta go with the highly touted prospect here. I'm looking forward to this fight. I mean, this is the one fight where if I'm waking up a bit early, I might just have to wake up a little before 7 a.m. to watch this one live. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I think. Peter Yan should win this fight. He's a 4.5 to 5-1 favorite for a good reason. It makes a lot of sense. Those odds are good in my opinion, but Teruto Ishihara comes to fight. He's a banger, and I know he's also, I mean, his grappling, I guess, has come along a little bit, but he's mostly just kind of sits there and swings and tries to knock guys out. But I don't think he's going to connect on Peter Yan. I don't think he's going to have tons of success here, but he's going to bring it. He's going to try. He's going to try real hard, and so that's a good matchup for Peter Yan. Maybe he'll get Yan in a little bit of trouble, or maybe he just will sort of serve as a great dance partner for Peter Yan. That's kind of how I look at this fight. I mean, this is going to be a showcase fight for Peter Yan, but he's not facing an absolute bomb or a counter strike or anything like that. This is going to be a lot of fun, but Peter Yan's a better fighter. There's nothing really else to say. I mean, Peter Yan is a good guy. He's a good fighter coming over from ACB as a champion. I expect big things from this guy, and maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe he will underperform because the expectations are so high. So you never know. I mean, Ishihara has power, so he could connect, but I don't think he will. I think this will be one-way traffic for Peter Yan. I'll say a decision though. 4 of 8 pro wins have gone to the judges, so and Ishihara is tough, hard to knock him out. I don't think it's ever been done. Maybe it has, but not by many people. So give me Peter Yan by dominant decision.
It has not been done. Teruto Ishihara has only been stopped once. He was choked out early in his career.
Okay.
By Yuto Sasaki, actually. A pretty known guy. Wes, turning to you, do you think Teruto Ishihara has enough to author the upset, or is your minus 500 favorite Peter Yan, who, if you guys check the the stream chat that I just threw in on our little sidebar, is the Siberian gangster. I don't know if you guys know that about him. Check the
Trying to pull it up. Oh yeah, how about that? That's pretty cool.
He's joined the budding country gangster group of MMA fighters that has started with Olivier Aubin-Mercier really made it exciting by becoming the Canadian gangster. So we've got the American gangster, the Canadian gangster, and now the Siberian gangster as well. So, Wes, who takes it?
Oh, man. I think Peter Yan has this one in the bag. To me, personally, I already think he's a top 15 bantamweight. I don't think that's really hard to think about. I feel like he's already been competitive enough. And, of course, I mean, he hasn't fought really the names that we know of because they don't fight in the UFC. But the guys he's beat are very, very talented fighters outside that have fought in ACB. I think he's already a top 15 guy. I think we're going to not see him after this win get in there. But I do think that we will see it one day. He's got the stand-up game, just super dynamic to be able to break anybody down. I think he could get a finish in this one. I'm actually taking Peter Yan or Peter Yan by a TKO in the second round. I think we'll see a pretty decent showcase. And he doesn't really implement a whole lot of takedowns, but I feel like if he's strategic and watches a little of Teruto's tape, he'll know that Cerrone is not good at all at defending takedowns, as I think it's only like 34 or 35% on UFC.com. So Peter Yan is going to be my pick by a TKO in the second round.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Yan here. Dude's a hell of a prospect, hell of a fighter already. Ishihara is the exact kind of good test for him, I think. He does one thing, and it's pretty easy to not fall into Ishihara's game plan, but Ishihara does do the one thing well enough to keep you on your toes, keep you staying salty out there. So I think it's a good whetstone fight for him. Let Peter Yan get out there, flex some muscles, maybe work some takedowns if he ever gets in trouble. But I think he can just kind of out-volume Teruto Ishihara on the feet and not walk into anything big. Give me Peter Yan. And that brings us to continuing down. Are we in the main card now? Is that what's happened? We snuck up onto the main card. Well, that's just tremendously exciting. Your first fight of the main card, your I guess the last one was the main Fight Pass prelim card. That's exciting main event. Your main card opener also on Fight Pass on Friday, late night Friday, depending on where you are, or Saturday morning, I guess. Ying Liang Li taking on Daichi Abe. As we previously discussed, Daichi Abe, man without a Wikipedia page. Somebody get on that, take care of that. But, or maybe not. Really, he's been in the UFC for two events. He's got a win over Hyung-Yu Lim, a loss to Luke Jumo in his last outing at UFC 221. That was earlier this year. On the other end of that, Ying Liang Li, been hanging around the UFC for a couple of years now. Picked up a number of wins, including just before joining the UFC, he submitted Luke Jumo. So MMA math would tell you that Ying Liang Li should take this one home. Wikipedia math would tell you he's going to kick the shit out of Daichi Abe since he has a Wikipedia. But Wes, what do you think? Let's go with you here. Ying Liang Li, the Leech, taking on Daichi Abe. Who you got?
I think I got to go with the Leech. I mean, this guy's always so entertaining to watch. He goes in there and always likes to brawl, stand on the feet, likes to throw a lot of volume, and isn't really a whole lot conservative. He likes to take those risks in the fights, and that's one thing that I think a lot of people like about Li Jingliang. And, of course, the last fight, I mean, there was a lot of controversy with it, and with all the eye pokes that he delivered to Jake Matthews throughout the fight. Daichi Abe, or Abe, I should say, I really don't know a whole lot about him. And to be honest, I don't even remember his fight with Luke Jumu. Vaguely remember the one with Hyun-Gyu Lim, where he was able to get a decision victory in there. But he just doesn't really have the experience for me to be tempted to pick him. 6-1, having a loss to Luke Jumu, and then his only UFC win being a victory over Hyun-Gyu Lim, who is not and has not looked great recently. The Leech, I think, is going to be able to go out there and put together a pretty impressive performance, hopefully. And he's going to be my pick by a second-round TKO. I think he'll be the first guy and the only guy to stop Daichi Abe.
Nicholas, Li Jiangling is a minus 280 favorite, the comeback being 240 for Daichi Abe. Do you believe that those odds are justified? Is Li Jiangling going to get a win here, or is Abe going to author the upset?
Nah, I'm a picker of favorites, so let's just keep that going. Enough underdogs. I've got one already. I think that's probably where I'll stop.
It's more than any of the rest of us.
Sure. Give me Li Jingliang. I think he's going to do some bad things to Daichi Abe, perhaps. I think Abe is actually a good fighter, so I think on paper it's a closer fight than some might think. But I mean, Jingliang is just a scrapper, and I can't think of any better way to describe him. The guy throws down, and I was a little surprised by his performance against Matthews, dropping a decision. But I think Jake might just be a really good fighter now. So perhaps we'll see later on in Jake's career. No shame in losing to him. That's talking about Jingliang, that is. Both guys, I guess, are similar. They like to stand and bang. But I do think Jingliang does have a little bit of a more of a ground game than Abe does. We've seen it a little bit where we don't really see much from Abe. He's more of a stand-up guy, and both guys are pretty active. I think this could be a fun fight. I'm going to go Jingliang, though. I think he has more ways to win, and he has the UFC experience, and a lot of the intangibles, so to speak, lead me in the direction of the Leech. So give me Li Jingliang. I'll say, like Wes, I'll say the first guy to stop Daichi Abe. I'll go with third-round TKO.
Yeah, I don't have much to add here. I will say Li Jiangling has proven himself to be a good fighter. His tendency to brawl gives me a big concern just going forward, but Daichi Abe is not the guy to really make hay there, take advantage of that. So, yeah, give me the Leech. I just think his physicality, if nothing else, should be good to go here. That wraps up our main card opener. Moving on, honestly, maybe my favorite fight of the card here. Not even going to lie. This is we talked earlier about how I'm not going to watch this card. Less interest than most. This is one of the few that I will almost certainly go back and check out regardless. Maybe not the biggest head turner on paper, but a competitive close fight in a division that's still brewing up. Then this could have title implications, frankly, and that wouldn't be unjust. So definitely something I'm a little bit interested in. Plus, Jessica Rose Clark is maybe good. She might be a good fighter. Let's find out. I think Jessica has a good test to find that out. In your women's flyweight, 125 pounds, Jessica Rose Clark taking on Jessica Evil Eye. Jessica coming off a win earlier this year, Kalindra Faria, a split decision at the UFC Fight Night 124, Stevens versus Troy. Before that, had lost 4 in a row, 5 out of 6. People were questioning why Jessica I was still in the UFC. Granted, she lost a top shelf competition, Miesha Tate, Juliana Pena, Sarah McMahon, Betch Correia, but that's a lot of losses in a row. Stuck around, finally got back on the winning track, but it was a split decision. You got to think a loss here maybe gets her pink slip signed as well. On the other end of that, Jessica Rose Clark coming off the biggest win of her career, back-to-back actually, wins over Beck Rollins and Paige Van Sant, two pretty decent-sized names in the flyweight division. And a win here, I think she would be justified in making a call out for Valentina Shevchenko. I know Shevchenko's not the title holder, but she is the uncrowned champion, is going to fight Nico Montano and going to do dirty, dirty things to Nico Montano and take that belt. And then Jessica Rose Clark, right there, a win here can maybe get her in that. Since I've already talked, I'm just going to go ahead and throw out my pick just to get it on the record, on the books, and then let you two boys handle the business. I am going to take Jessica Rose Clark here. She's just surging up, and Jessica I know she did get a win, but it's a lot of losses in a row. I like Jessica Rose Clark's ability to come out and work at a super high rate of pace, and I think that's just going to score points and get the job done. Give me Jessica Rose Clark by decision. Nikolai, why don't we jump to you, though? Let us know how it goes. Jessica Rose Clark or Jessica Evil Eye? Who is the Jessica?
Unlike you, I don't care about this fight all that much. Yeah, I don't know. I'm picking Jessica Rose Clark. Who do you go?
Clark.
Yeah, same. Wes?
I'm taking Jessie Rose Clark in this one. Jessica, I don't know. I mean, her last fight was whatever. Then her losses, she just didn't look fantastic. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare now at flyweight instead of strawweight. I don't know if Jessie Rose. Let me take a look. I guess she's always fought at flyweight and never strawweight, and then Jessica I's down. I guess they moved down a weight, so I don't know how they're going to pair here. But I think Jessica Rose Clark is just a little bit better at this point in time. And Jessica I was a lot better in her early years. For those reasons, I'm taking Jessica Rose Clark.
All right, moving on, your co-main event of the evening, the heaviest fight on the fight card as well, 205, the almost big boys going on. Surging light heavyweight prospect, frankly, one of the few guys you can consider a light heavyweight prospect these days, Tyson Pedro, taking on established veteran, former interim title challenger, king of the Von Flue choke, Ovince St. Preux. I don't really have much else to lead these in, but to say, OSP coming off a submission loss to Lear Latifi after recording a couple of Von Flue chokes, just some wild shit last year. Tyson Pedro coming off a win over Saparbeg Safarov and also a loss to Lear Latifi. So these are the two guys at 205 who've lost to Lear Latifi. Who is better of the two of them? Wes, why don't you tell us?
It's crazy to think that if OSP would have got that victory over Volkan Ozdemir, he would have went 4-0 in 2017, which is very, very impressive for a light heavyweight. And in my eyes, he did win that fight. So I think he's 4-0 as of 2017. But then again, the Lear Latifi one really hurt him. He got tagged pretty early on in the fight and ended up getting submitted in that one. When you see that OSP lasted just only 3 minutes, 48 seconds, Tyson Pedro made it to a decision with Lear Latifi. I'm not saying that makes it any better because Tyson Pedro's last fight was against Saparbeg Safarov, where he got taken down a little bit here and there and then got some crazy submission victory, like using his arm. It was definitely one of the best so far of the year. But he seemed to just be struggling a little in the clinch positions. Now, is OSP really going to look a lot for those takedowns and clinch positions? I'm not 100% sure because sometimes he will, but then other times he'll completely forget that game and just kind of implement his own style where he's landing the right hand a lot. But I will say that OSP's cardio has improved drastically, and I saw it a lot in the Corey Anderson fight, even though he was losing up until he got the knockout. He looked very much evolved in comparison with cardio from where he was before those fights and back when he was fighting guys like John Jones and Jimmy Manuwa and Glover Teixeira. So the pick on this one's going to be tough because I feel like they both have their own kind of paths. I feel like Pedro has some decent strikes in there too with combinations. And OSP, he's got that left hand that can definitely knock anybody out. But Pedro's never been stopped. I feel like I need to, at some point, disagree with you, Jed, because we have all the same picks, and I do not like the way it's going because then I will not have a chance at all to win.
So who are you taking? You don't know what I'm going to pick.
I do not know what you're going to pick, and I will change. Well, I'll have to wait till the main event. But I'm going to take I got to take an underdog at some point. My real pick is Tyson Pedro, but I'm going to take
your real pick is the one you take, son.
Okay.
Ain't no real pick. The real pick is the one I write on this page.
The one on UFC.com is Tyson Pedro, but for the sake of our fantastic show and for you both, I'm going to take Ovince St. Preux. I don't know why, because he's not the pick, but he's the pick.
Wes recording his first underdog pick. Close underdog, though. Let's be honest. Plus 120, Tyson Pedro, only a minus 140 favorite. Nikolai.
Jed, I want you to go first. I have to take back to the show now that we're at the main event. Have to do it. It's only the right thing. Nope.
Okay, well, Wes, you fucked up, homie, because I'm also taking Ovince St. Preux.
Great.
Wes, go Tyson Pedro.
So I'll go Tyson Pedro.
Are you going to go Tyson Pedro?
I'll go Pedro, so then when OSP wins next week or in 2 weeks from now, you can say.
Who are you picking? Wow. You pick. I'm picking OSP, and I'm not changing my mind.
Okay, well, I'll take Tyson Pedro because he was my pick, and you can give me a hard time on that next week.
Everyone lives happily ever after.
I'm taking Ovince St. Preux. I won't be at all shocked if Tyson Pedro gets it done. OSP just has that super weird disjointed game where he does super wild creative shit and also just forgets to do very simple things. Wouldn't shock me if Tyson Pedro came out and jawed him, but I do think that there's a pretty substantive difference between being a prospect at light heavyweight and heavyweight than being a prospect anywhere else. And I can't quite decide if Tyson Pedro is a prospect because he's an actual prospect or if he's a prospect because light heavyweight sucks. And so I'm just going to let's just be honest. He put together 4 wins on the Australian regional circuit, which is not wildly impressive. Came in, choked out Khalil Roundtree. Okay. That's a thing that happened. Knocked out Paul Craig. Still not really getting my loins up in anything exciting. Lost convincingly to Ilir Latifi, and then submitted Saperbek Safarov in a super weird way. None of these are fine wins, and you can only do what you can do against the people in front of you. But the one time he fought a good fighter, Ilir Latifi pretty soundly beat him. And that was a very good fighter. And whatever you think of OSP, he's a really good fighter. He lost to Ilir Latifi and Volkan Ozdemir. He got knocked out by Jimmy Manuwa. Also, I'm with you, Wes. I thought he beat Volkan Ozdemir, and Ozdemir challenged for a title. And then he went 5 rounds with John Jones. He's susceptible to getting beat. And he's susceptible to not doing things for a long enough period of time that he can just kind of get outworked. It won't shock me if Pedro gets it done, but OSP is a proven commodity, and Tyson Pedro is not in my mind. So I'll take the underdog that I know I know he's a good fighter and not, Tyson Pedro might be a good fighter. It might just be we're so desperate for light heavyweight talent, we've decided he's good. So give me OSP.
Tough fight to call. I'm gonna go with the underdog. My second underdog pick of the night. Look at me go with this risky pick business, right? Give me Ovince St. Preux plus 105, plus 110, whatever he's at. He is plus money. I like it. Tyson Pedro is a good fighter. I like him as a person. He's a great guy. I've talked to him. He's good. But St. Preux, I agree with a lot of what Jed said. I mean, as far as OSP being the more proven fighter, he certainly is. I mean, he has a lot more experience, 22-11. He has a lot of losses, but as Jed went through, he's lost to the best of the best, and that's about it. Where Tyson Pedro, I mean, that's true with him as well. He's only lost 1 fight. That's to Ilir Latifi, who could challenge for a title sooner than later. He's fighting Glover Teixeira next, coming up pretty soon. But Pedro, as Jed said, doesn't have the best wins. He has stoppages. It's good. He's an exciting fighter, but I just don't really know where he sits in the division. I do know where OSP sits, and for the lacking 205-pound division, that's pretty high up for OSP. I think stylistically, it's a pretty decent matchup on paper. Pedro is a good grappler with knockout power. That's kind of what St. Preux is in a way. I think St. Preux probably has the better striking. On the ground, it's a pretty close fight. Pedro probably has the advantage as far as just straight submissions, but St. Preux isn't bad there at all. He should be able to defend off a lot of Pedro's chokes if it does go there. On the feet, I think OSP wins. Yeah, I don't really know. It's a close one to call. Pedro's younger, so he's unproven, but sometimes those are the fighters that come through big with flying colors. So he could win, and I won't complain at all because that'll be sort of turnover in the light heavyweight division. We need it badly, but OSP needs this win badly too. If he loses, he's no longer a 205 contender and probably never will be again. If he wins, he's still there. He's still a guy at 205, is still a name with a bit of value. But I do think he gets back on track. Give me Oven St. Preux by decision. I don't think we'll see a stoppage here. With that, it is time to move on to the UFC Singapore main event. We got welterweight action, 5 rounds of it. Donald Cowboy Cerrone, the veteran, taking on the rising prospect, rising contender, whatever you want to call him, Britain's own Leon Rocky Edwards. Judge, you like Leon Edwards, the about 2-1 favorite here. Let me look at the exact odds. Yep, 2-1 exactly on 5 times, -200. Or does Cowboy Cerrone pull off an upset here?
Those odds are frankly insane. Look, I like Leon Edwards. I think I've picked him in the last several times we've done this show that we were talking about him. I think he has established himself as a very well-rounded fighter. He came in, people thought he was going to be a hotshot striker. Fact is, he's way more of a grappler now that can strike a little bit, but honestly doesn't have like a ton of diversity on the feet. Just pretty simple meat and potato striking game, but a sneaky good grappling game. I get it. Donald Cerrone looks washed. But he did get to bounce back with that Yancy Medeiros fight. I know that he maybe had a little more struggles earlier than people expected, but at the end of the day, he got the damn thing done. I think he is physically declining. I'm not here to lie to you and tell you he's not, but he is just a better the fighter he is now. I still think he's probably better than Leon Edwards, and more to the point, just a dreadful style matchup for Leon Edwards. Previously, a long time ago, the way to beat Donald Cerrone now, realistically, is to hit him, work him over to the body, maybe jaw him in the face if you can get there. But the way is not to use Leon Edwards' sneaky grappling game to plant Cerrone and sit on him. That hasn't been the way to beat Donald Cerrone in many, many years. And on the feet, I don't think Leon Edwards has it. I think he's a competent, good striker, but I think Cerrone has more volume, more pressure, more everything that's needed. Edwards is going to have to pressure Donald Cerrone, get him moving, backpedaling on the back foot. And I don't know that that's even the game plan he's going to want to employ. This just seems like on the feet, Edwards is really going to want to stay at range and kind of work simple combinations, and Cerrone's going to just outland him there. And if Edwards comes in, Cerrone still can be dangerous off his back. Sneaky hard to take down in a lot of ways. Has adopted a really nice stepping knee as a counter to people kind of trying to close that distance on him. And honestly, I am stunned by the odds here. I won't be shocked if Edwards does pull out a win, but the fact that he's almost a 2-1 favorite is fucking nuts to me. Give me Donald Cowboy Cerrone. I think he's going to show up and show out, man, and prove that he's still around. He's not the best he's ever been anymore, never going to make a run to the title, but he's still a relevant fighter in the division, and Leon Edwards is going to come up short in his first main event.
It's a good pick. I've been back and forth on this one just because for all the reasons Jed hinted on, and probably Nick you'll hint on too. These two are both, still decent fighters. Cowboy's kind of getting not really towards the end of his career, but you can tell that he's not really the same fighter that he once was. While Leon Edwards, on the other hand, is this guy who's rising and has been rising. Jed, the one thing you mentioned that I completely agree with is how Edwards when he came into the UFC, he was this guy that always relied off his striking game, and he ended up getting the knockout over Seth Baczynski, which was his first knockout. Took him down in that one pretty quick, and then he landed like a brutal head kick in the Paulak fight, which was back in 2015 in like the third round. But then after he lost to Kamaru Usman, it's like he just became this guy that liked to grapple, and that's kind of all he did for a long period of time. He actually never attempted a takedown, or at least never landed a takedown in his first 4 UFC fights. His last 5, he has scored 1 or more takedowns, with the most being looks like 3 in 3 of his fights. So Cerrone, he is pretty hard to take down, as you mentioned, because the last 2 fighters actually to take him down were Rick Story, which is in August of 2016, so 2 years ago, and then before that, it was Miles Jury in January of 2015, and then it dates back even further to RDA, the other guy, to take him down before that, which was in August of 2013. So Donald Cerrone does not get taken down a lot. I think Leon Edwards is going to be very dependent on searching for that, especially if he does not land any kind of head kick, which I think is one of his only and most powerful tools, or put together any decent combinations. Excuse me. So for all of those reasons, I don't want to talk too much longer about this one because I know we've gone on too long for this card. But I'm actually going to take Donald Cerrone as well. I think if he can keep this one on the feet, you will be able to pick Edwards apart, and later in the fight, I think Edwards will slow down, and Cerrone will be able to get a TKO at some point in either the 3rd or the 4th round.
Very interesting. Tough fight to call. I really believe that. I mean, Leon Edwards at 2-1 seemed fair to me initially. Now I think maybe you guys have convinced me otherwise. I still think he should be favored, but that doesn't necessarily mean I think he'll win. Stylistically, it's not a tremendous matchup for him. I don't think it's terrible, as you said, Jed, but he can't work his grappling game as much as usual, I don't think, against Cowboy. Cowboy, good off his back, good at defending takedowns. Might keep this one standing if he's lucky. And on the feet, Cerrone just has more tools. He can chop Edwards down with his kicks. He can land punches. But Edwards, I mean, is good on the feet too. He has power. I actually think Leon Edwards at this point in time probably has more one-punch KO power. But Cerrone is just that much more active. This ultimately comes down to Cerrone's age, though. I thought he looked good against Yancy Medeiros. I wasn't overly impressed with that stoppage window. I thought Cerrone looked sloppier than usual. I think that has something to do with the fact he's getting up there in age. He's fought a lot, taken a lot of damage, was coming off a knockout to Darren Till back last October. I think everything adds up. I think, eventually time catches up to you, and that's kind of the case with Donald Cerrone. He's not the same fighter who challenged Rafael dos Anjos for the lightweight belt, 2.5 years ago. Not the same guy who went on a tear in his first 4 or 5 welterweight fights either. He's definitely gone down. Leon Edwards is on the way up, and usually I like to pick the prospects over the veterans, and I think that'll stay true right now. I'm going to go Leon Edwards, but I'm not going to lie. Just as I was starting my preview, my breakdown right now, I saw on MMAfighting.com's Twitter, they just published the UFC Singapore weigh-in results. The photo was of Donald Cowboy Cerrone, shaved head, shaved face, looks like the old Donald Cerrone. So you never know. That just almost convinced me, but can't quite pull the trigger. Give me Leon Edwards, and I think he'll stop Cerrone in the 4th round with strikes. But maybe Cerrone will win. It's a tough fight, and I'm looking forward to it. Well, that is it for UFC Fight Night 132, UFC Singapore, UFC Fight Night Cowboy versus Edwards. Now let's move on to our Performance of the Night bonuses, Performance of the Night and Fight of the Night, and, of course, our Underdog Pick of the Week. Jed, I'll start with Wes. What do you have for us, Wes?
Man, I guess I've only picked one underdog, which is Donald Cerrone, so I'm going to have to go with him. I feel like OSP is another good pick, but Cerrone's going to be my underdog pick for this card.
Okay. What about your fight performances?
Oh, my fight of the night. So for some reason, I thought you just said underdog picks. So, man, my fight of the night pick, I'm not 100% sure on this one, to be honest. I'm going to go a little bit out on the limb, and I'm going to take something that is not on the main card just to make it interesting. I'm going to take Felipe Arantes versus Song Yadong. I think that could actually be pretty fun for a bantamweight fight. And my two performances, I'm going to give one to Donald Cerrone, and my other one we'll go to Li Jingliang.
Okay. I am taking Cerrone Edwards, my fight of the night. Just going with the main event. I don't feel a strong way about anything else. My performances, I'm also taking Cerrone. I think he's going to get a head kick knockout later on in the fight and get a performance bonus there. Although I considered a couple others. And then I'm also taking Ovince St. Preux. That one might just be a little wishful thinking, but I feel like if Ovince St. Preux wins, he usually wins doing some wacky and wild shit. And so worth a shot, throwing one out for a bonus prediction on him. And then my underdog pick, I took two underdogs, OSP and Cerrone. I'm just going to make it a full Cerrone sweep on my bonuses and lean heavy on him tomorrow night. Take down Cerrone for my underdog pick of the week.
My underdog pick of the week, I guess, has to be Ovince St. Preux.
Or Aranches.
Yeah, it could be Aranches, but yeah, I don't know. I'll go OSP on that one. And then my performance is pretty tough here. Fight of the night, I'm going to go Jing Liang versus Abe. And then performances, I'm going to give one to Jake Matthews and the other to Inoue.
I like Inoue. I think that's a good pick.
I would consider giving one to Song Kanan, but I'll stick with what I got. DraftKings, and that's it. Wes, you can go first if you have a team ready.
I do have a team ready. I feel pretty confident in it, to be honest, but it was pretty tough putting it together until we kind of talked about the fights more so. So my picks for DraftKings, I've got Donald Cerrone on my team. He is my underdog, and I think he could pull it off via knockout early on. My second is Naoki Inoue, very young, but I think he'll be able to get a good performance in. And Nick, you picked him for your bonus, so he could definitely get a submission. I've got Kenan Song. He scored 107 points in his UFC debut. And then on top of that, I have the other Song Yadong, who scored 104 points in his UFC debut. Two fighters who score a lot of points. I've got Yanel Lawsa, who's the one guy I'm a little concerned about. I think I did consider picking him, but I took Sasaki. I think Lawsa has a chance if he can avoid takedowns. And then to round it out, I've got Peter Yan. I think he'll be able to put on pretty impressive performance with takedowns throughout the course of the fight.
Nikolai, what about you?
My team is as follows. I don't love it, but I don't care either. Donald Cerrone, Ovince St. Preux, Jake Matthews, Naoki Inoue, Yuta Sasaki, and a massive underdog, Teruto Ishihara.
You always have one of the big underdogs. You just buy some people and then you realize, oh shit, I have to buy the cheapest person on the card to make this work. Sure. That is a hallmark of the Nick Baldwin style of DraftKings. All right, boys.
It doesn't work, but c'est la vie.
I'm feeling okay about my squad now after seeing y'all throw out some teams. We've got some crossover. All three of us have Donald Cerrone. I don't think that's a huge surprise, though a little bit surprising considering you didn't take him, Nick, to have him on your team.
I'm okay with it, though, because you guys both got him.
Yep. I mean, it works out in that regard for you. It makes it a 5-man race. And since he's cheaper than Edwards, I guess that really works out. I'm taking Donald Cerrone. I'm also taking Ovince St. Preux. My two underdogs are going to be on my team. My big favorite, Zhong Ling and Inoue, Naoki Inoue. I'm taking both those guys. I think that they have good chances for stoppages. And then I am taking Yadong Song and Ji Yeon Kim, mainly because I don't think much of Fabian, and I think Kim might be able to get an early submission there, and it's not that expensive. So that's my squad. We're ready to go, boys.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching episode 112 of Before the Battle, UFC Singapore edition. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy this show, even if you didn't, go give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel down there. If you enjoyed it or you didn't, drop some feedback, drop a message in the comment section down below, and I will reply to you if needed. Wes, great to have you back. Remind everybody where they can find you on social media and anything else you got to plug.
I'm glad to be back, fellas. You can follow me on Twitter at AllThatMMA. You can find my writing over at MMAsucker.com. And you can also follow my Instagram. I've got two different ones. My personal, which is my name, Wesley Riddle, no space, Wesley Riddle. And then my Instagram is AllThatMMA, which I hope to use more often. Maybe I will someday.
Jed, same question to you.
Follow me on Twitter at JedKMeshew. Follow my writing at MMAfighting.com. And pretty soon there's going to be a whole lot more of it. What with all the changes now, I can announce that I will be doing a lot more for MMA fighting going forward. So, yeah, keep it locked there and read all the things that I write.
There you go. Okay, for me, I don't have tons to plug. Just check out bloodyelbow.com. That's where you can find all my work. Again, subscribe to this channel. If you haven't, I'd appreciate it. I'd love you forever. Thank you all so much. I have a lot going on. I graduate high school next week. I am going camping this weekend. I'm going on vacation next weekend, or next week, I should say, after grad, and then I head over to Vegas to cover International Fight Week in a couple weeks. So I'm not gonna have tons of writing.
Who are you covering that for?
Severe MMA.
Severe, I figured.
Yes, that is who I'm covering that for. Not Bloody Elbow, of course. Don't need to get into that though.
Motherfucker.
What's that?
Lucky motherfucker.
Yes, I am very much looking forward to it. They just sent out the UFC PR schedule in the emails this evening. And man, there's a lot going on. So it's going to be a busy week, but it should be fun. That is it from me. We will be back for those two cards, the Tough 27 finale and UFC 226 in a couple weeks. I don't know how that's going to happen. I guess I'll probably do it from Vegas. I'll be bringing this microphone anyways because going to New York before, and I'll be meeting up with the Clown Kid. We're going to do a live in his apartment podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I'll have the mic. So we'll probably do something from my hotel room. If the Wi-Fi is good, we'll make it work. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. For Jed Meshew, Wes Riddle, I'm Nick Baldwin. Enjoy the fight, I guess, tomorrow night if you're staying up late.
Love you guys.